Pick a Car, Any Car is the first segment of the 6th episode of the 7th season of Arthur. And it's not a bad episode, it's not one that I love, it doesn't have any important morals or messages in it, which is not a big deal. A lot of the episodes don't and are still great. But for me, it just maybe was lacking a little bit something for what I look for in an episode of Arthur. But that being said, it wasn't bad. The Reed family car seems to be on its last legs, and they go and see if they can get it repaired, but the mechanic says that it'll cost a lot, and they can't really afford it at the moment, so it's possible that they'll have to just sell it off for scrap. But Arthur is determined to not let it go, and he does everything he can, with Buster's help, to try and save the family car. Meanwhile, Muffy and her father are trying everything they can to sell the Reeds a car that they definitely shouldn't be able to afford to buy. They definitely can't afford it. Even their high-end price doesn't really lend themselves too much to Mr. Crosswire's cars. And needless to say, the family might be without a car, and Arthur's not going to let this happen. And what happens is actually a pretty interesting commentary on how some people, nobody specific, but how some mechanics may take people for a ride, give them a bit of a run around and be very dishonest about what is actually wrong with the car, about how much it would cost to fix it, and what the value of that vehicle is if they're selling it off for scrap. And I guess that itself is quite interesting, not necessarily for the target audience. It's not something that young children are going to have to deal with or should even be worrying about, but definitely as an older viewer. I don't drive, but if I did, it might make me stop and think, if my car broke, would I trust what the mechanic is saying to me? Now, I'm sure most mechanics are perfectly honest, but in every industry there will be at least a couple of people who are dishonest and will do everything for a quick buck, as it were. And that's definitely what we see here. What was actually wrong with the car, I thought, was quite amusing. Actually, it worked quite well, and the narrative developed very well. It wasn't completely predictable, so it's a well-written episode with a lot going for it. I think if you're a younger child interested in this and not really sure where it's going, for an older viewer, if I drove, I probably would have got more out of it, because I might have had that level of relatability. But generally speaking, it wasn't bad. I didn't love it, but there's certainly nothing wrong with it.